In a year overflowing with RPGs promising the world, Blades of Fire doesn't scream for your attention. It waits for you to notice it. No massive ad campaign, no celebrity voiceovers, just a quiet confidence and a weapon with your name on it, literally. On the surface, it's another third-person action RPG. But 5 minutes in, you're not just playing a warrior. You become a forger of fate. Every blade you craft isn't just stats and steel. It's memory, skill, and mistake. And that hits different. This isn't the story of a hero chosen by gods. It's the tale of someone who carves their legacy, one swing at a time, in a world that barely remembers why it's dying. There's no shortcut, no magic fix, just raw iron, tight parries, and that creeping question: can I make it this time? Blades of Fire is easy to overlook, but once it has you, it doesn't let go. So the question is, how far would you go to keep the weapon you built with your own hands? You don't just pick a sword in Blades of Fire, you make one, and it remembers how you treated it. At the heart of this world lies a mechanic that reshapes the usual hack-and-slash loop into something intimate and oddly meditative: forging. This isn't some click-and-craft menu filler. You stand at the anvil, literally molding every blade with your own hands. From hilt to tip, you choose the metals, shape the blade profile, tweak the stats, and then manually forge it through a surprisingly nuanced minigame. Tilt the hammer, adjust the power, follow the design line. It's part rhythm, part muscle memory, and all deeply satisfying. Each weapon you create becomes yours, not just in name, but in spirit. There's a star rating system tied to how well you forge, determining how long the weapon survives before it finally breaks. Get sloppy, and your blade becomes fragile. Nail the forge, and that weapon could carry you through hell and back. There's weight behind each swing, knowing your mistakes at the anvil echo into battle. And if that sounds overwhelming, don't worry. The game respects your time. Pre-built templates exist. Automation kicks in once you've earned it. But for those who embrace the smith's role, Blades of Fire offers a tactile loop few action RPGs dare to touch. It's not just gameplay, it's a ritual, one that honors every scar your blade earns. When the steel you've forged finally meets flesh, it's not just a fight, it's a reckoning. Combat in Blades of Fire is all melee, all the time. No bows, no fireballs, just you, your blade, and the discipline to master both. It leans heavily into precision. 4 directional attacks map to the controller's face buttons, allowing for fluid transitions between slashes, thrusts, and overhead swings. But it's not about flashy combos, it's about reading the enemy, picking your moment, and striking with purpose. Each enemy has weak points, some of which can be dismembered if you're accurate and brutal enough. The parry window, tight. Unforgiving. But land it, and your reward is a rush of stamina and an opening for devastation. Speaking of stamina, it drains fast, but can be recharged quickly by holding a block stance, encouraging a dance of aggression and restraint. The brilliance lies in the way weaponware ties directly into this system. Every hit slightly dulls your edge. Mid-battle, you can sharpen your weapon for a damage boost, but at the cost of durability. It's a constant trade-off. Push harder now or save the blade for later. Add in the freedom to cancel almost any action, the satisfying weight behind each hit, and a dash roll that feels slick and responsive, and combat becomes a calculated ballet of survival. You don't just fight to win, you fight to preserve the weapon you bled to build. Blades of Fire doesn't hand you a map, it hands you a maze, and then it burns the exits. This world is sprawling, twisted, and quietly hostile. Checkpoints, called Forger's Anvils, replace the usual bonfires or shrines. They're both sanctuary. And reset button, restoring your health flasks and reviving every enemy you just barely scraped past. Rest here, and you breathe. But you also restart the rhythm of danger. These anvils also serve as your fast travel points. But forging new weapons? That's a whole other step. You don't forge right there on the spot. Instead, you teleport to a separate forge realm, which means 2 loading screens, another walk, more time. It's functional, sure, but immersion takes a hit every time you're yanked out of the world just to fix a blade. Navigation itself is not for the faint of heart. Levels spiral and twist like ancient catacombs built without logic or pity. There's no altitude indicator, no multi-floor clarity, and very little in the way of visual breadcrumbs. You will get lost, and the game seems fine with that. What's more, some zones require escort NPCs to guide you forward. Yes, actual NPCs you have to wait for and protect, and yes, they talk. A lot. Exploring Blades of Fire feels like wandering through a beautifully hostile dream, mesmerizing but often directionless. And sometimes that's exactly the point. You don't level up in Blades of Fire the way you expect. You grow through what you break and what you choose to rebuild. There's no classic skill tree or point dump. Progression here is defined by your relationship with your weapons. The ones you forged, the ones you lost, and the ones you desperately crawled through swamps and crypts to rebuild. Each blade you carry is tied to materials, rare metals, broken parts, and scraps found in the wild or taken off fallen foes. Lose your favorite weapon in a tough fight? You can go back, fight your way through the chaos, and recover it, or reforge it from scratch using the same components. That choice, the urge to retrieve or remake, is where emotional investment blooms. It's not just what you fight with. It's why you keep choosing that weapon again and again. Thankfully, the game respects your time. The map system lets you track which materials spawn in each area. You can tag zones, track ingredients, even customize markers. It's efficient, though not always intuitive, and helps balance the grind. This isn't a loot game. It's a legacy game. Your power isn't measured by the number of weapons you carry, but by the story each one tells, and how far you're willing to go to swing it one more time. Blades of Fire looks like a 888 title pretending to be an underdog. The environments are dense, handcrafted, and absolutely brimming with tiny, destructible details, from shattered pots to furniture hiding hidden materials. Every corner of this world feels touched by a meticulous artist's hand. But it's the soundtrack that elevates it. Drums that pound like war calls, strings that bend and rise as if echoing your journey, and a dynamic score that adapts with every fight and region. It's not just background noise, it's emotional reinforcement. Even the voice acting hits a solid mark. Not Oscar-worthy, but consistently committed, and often surprisingly charming. So, why does the story feel so distant? You play as Aaron, a stoic protagonist flanked by Adzo, a chatty journal keeper whose commentary is informative, but quickly grates. The plot, a journey to stop a dark queen and uncover the forgotten truths of a fading world. It has the skeleton of a fantasy epic, but lacks the blood and fire to make it feel urgent. Too few characters feel alive. Too many spaces feel empty. It's a paradox. A game that looks alive, sounds alive, but emotionally keeps you at arm's length. You'll admire this world. You might even respect it. But will you remember why you fought for it? Blades of Fire isn't the kind of game that shouts for your attention. It waits, quietly smoldering, hoping you'll step close enough to feel the heat. What it offers is something rare in modern action RPGs. Intimacy. Intimacy with your weapons, your choices, your failures. It doesn't overwhelm you with loot or flood you with meaningless numbers. Instead, it gives you a blade, a task, and a world that demands you learn how to survive with what you create. It's clunky at times. Escort. Missions drag. Level design gets confusing. The story, though competent, rarely stirs the heart. But when you're in sync with your blade, parrying a monstrous boss, weaving through enemy strikes, feeling the weight of every swing you personally forged, it clicks, if you're the kind. of player who finds beauty in repetition, in discipline, in systems that ask you to care. This might be the game you didn't know you were waiting for. If you want instant gratification or cinematic bombast, look elsewhere. Blades of Fire may not be for everyone, but for those it's for, it will hit deep. So here's my question to you. What's the one weapon in any game you've ever played that you couldn't let go of? Let's talk scars, memories, and the steel that made us.